Hello, my fellow real estate investors and stock investors, aka wealth hackers. This is the Truth About Real Estate Investing show. My name is Rowan Cito, and speaking of wealth hacking, our conference is coming up on November 12th, and it will be the event of the year, just like it was in 2019. And I'll let you in on a little secret. Cherry's second 20th birthday is coming up, and because that's 2 times 20, we have a 40% total off the price special for Cherry's second 20th birthday on August 5th. If you're on my email list or social media, you'll be informed of the promotion when it drops. Please do make sure you're there at the conference and bring those you care about because, straight up, the future won't be easy. I don't imagine any generation past our own will make more money than us. So hopefully you're taking care of them as best you can, and those you care about are taking care of all their kids and future generations. And so, an observation, I always have observations. If you listen to the show, you know I always have observations. One of them is that one's willingness to get outside their comfort zone is an indicator of future success, unless one is taught all their lessons while growing up. That's actually a big benefit. This is an observation I made. For example, our last guest on the show comes from multiple generations of successful entrepreneurs and investors. Hence, they've amassed enormous amounts of wealth. So, for those of you who are successful real estate investors or stock investors or entrepreneurs, just imagine all the lessons you can pass on to your children and your grandchildren. For example, the owner of my kickboxing gym, his 16-year-old daughter would beat my ass at kickboxing thanks to the world-class coaching from her father, who is a retired fighter with 37 professional wins. Combined with her years of hard work, note that kicking my ass is not that much to brag about. Thankfully, our kids have adapted to new learning. Not exactly sure what we did right, but 2 weeks ago, when we dropped them off at their first week-long overnight camp, they were excited leading up to the event and the drop-off. And when we did drop them off, not once did they look back. We hugged, said our goodbyes, and they walked off with their stuff to their cabin. We could see them for another minute or so, just walked away, never looked back. It's an odd feeling of sadness that they're leaving us and not caring, while we're happy that they're acting all independent. We also talked to our kids about money, investing in stocks, real estate. When my son said that he had saved up like $80 or something, I said, we're going to go buy a bank stock, which pays dividends. He knows enough about passive income that he's all over investing. Also about our charity as well, the Hamilton Basket Brigade, so they understand how lucky we are, and it's part of our duty to give back to those who can't, because there's many out there who don't have money for food and clothing. I can't say I know what we're doing, but I feel it's the right thing to do. Speaking of being out of one's comfort zone, today's guest, my old friend Ryan Carr. So Ryan and I go way back. We actually masterminded together for about 3 years in the same group. So he's back on the show. We share and we have common beliefs and values. For example, we both share the practice of seeking highest and best use of our time and capital. However, he's more aggressive and ambitious than I am and hardworking. Did I mention that? When I think of Ryan, I think of hardworking. For example, just until recently, he used to work 7 to 7 every day. So that's 12-hour days, 7 days a week. For 10 years, he runs a lean and mean investing business, and he's made a lot of money flipping 60 houses, duplexing, garden suiting, sever and build, land development, small apartment building, tiny house, short-term rentals, cottage. He has his own renovation team on payroll. He's done basically everything under the sun. Almost forgot, he is one of, no, I didn't really forget, but he is one of the stars of HGTV's newest show, Hoarder House Flippers. Today, Ryan will share how it all came about, including he shares some behind the scenes experiences of working on an HGTV show in some really gross, unsafe hoarder houses. Now, if you don't know what a hoarder house is, it's people who just collect stuff over years. So just imagine if you didn't throw out anything for the last 10 years. Imagine how much stuff you'd have, and that wouldn't be hygienic. That would be a health hazard. That could be a safety hazard too, because these things, if you had belongings that stacked up to the ceiling, that could potentially fall on you, and you might get buried alive. Imagine that, being buried alive by your possessions. So again, Ryan's here to share what kind of projects he's investing in right now. He's also writing a book and starting a podcast on the subject of highest and best use in real estate. So you'll want to pay attention to what Ryan shares. because in my observations, I have lots of them. Beginners often get this part wrong. They're not the most efficient as they could be with their time and money, and not maximizing the returns. Please enjoy the show. Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to especially invite you to the biggest event of the year for entrepreneurs, investors, and anyone who's crazy about building wealth and living their best life at the Wealth Hacker Conference. The Wealth Hacker Conference is an all-day in-person event, live only, happening in Toronto this year, November 12th. We'll be learning all the best practices on building wealth from retiring early, including from top experts like 6-time best-selling author Derek Foster. He retired at 34. He's known as Canada's youngest retiree. We have the incredible Jesse Itzler, New York Times best-selling author of one of my favorite books, Living with a Seal. He's our keynote speaker, and he'll share his secrets on building a life resume to be proud of, plus all the hundreds of millions of dollars he's made. Plus tons and tons of other excellent speakers who have built financially free lives through real estate, stocks, crypto, and business. You do not want to miss this event. The links for the tickets are below. Hope to see you there. Hey Ryan, thanks for coming in today.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well, what's keeping you busy these days?
What's keeping me busy? Lots. TV show, number one. Still an active real estate investor, very much so. Number two, a little bit of personal time, which is kind of cool. Number three.
That's a mouthful. People have no idea how busy you are.
I'm an actual active investor. Yes.
Yeah.
For real.
So we've known each other for a while, and you've been on the show. This is probably the third or fourth time, I think. As long as I've known you, you've been a 7 to 7 investor, as in like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
At a minimum, yeah.
For how long were you doing that?
I was
roughly.
I've been investing for just over 10 years, since 2012. So I was doing those hours or more for the majority of that time.
And how many weekends?
All of them.
And you're still married?
I'm still married.
And you were married that whole time?
I was married that whole time. 2013, yeah. So almost that whole time, yeah.
and first wife, just to clarify.
Only, first and only.
First and only wife.
It's funny, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was at the dentist's office. I was telling you this before the show. And we got to chatting, and I went to, I'll back it up. When I was a mechanic, I got laid off from doing that job, and I was on unemployment for a bit, right? So I had a chance to go to the school where they taught you to be an entrepreneur, and I met this girl who wanted to start a dental practice. So I go to her dentist's office, and depending on how tired I am when I'm laying in the chair, that tells me if I'm working too hard or not. Like, that has been my metric. So if I'm laying there and I'm like, oh man, this is so relaxing, I need to take it easy, then I know how I need to pull back. And if I'm laying there and I'm like gung-ho, then I know that I can gear it up. And it's just one of those ways that for me, over the years, I just kind of adopted it, because going to the dentist is historically not fun, or not, getting your teeth drilled. It's not fun.
No.
And so laying in the chair, I'm like, okay, cool. This is like this intuitive guideline inside of me that says, hey, either you're working too hard or you're good to go. And I was talking to her, and I said, like, how long have we been out of school? And we just got chatting about that. And she said, how long have you been doing real estate? And I said, well, just over 10 years now. And she goes, how many hours a week do you work? And I said, like, a lot of them, right? And I said, for every 1 year that I've been doing real estate, it's like I've put in the hours for 2. I've been doing it for 10 years, but I've put in the hours for 20, right? And I do attribute a lot of the time spent to my successes today.
Right. And I think that's a great point on the level of knowledge, hard work, and mastery you have of the subject. Mm-hmm. Because we're going golfing after this. So the golf analogy is, how
I haven't golfed yet this year, by the way. This will be an interesting round.
Right. And once you golf today, you'll say, oh yeah, I golfed this season.
Yes.
Once.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I'm a real estate investor. Say you own 3, whatever properties, I don't care. Yeah. I'm a real estate investor. Yeah. So is Ryan Carr. Ryan Carr is also a real estate investor. It's not the same thing. Mm-hmm. Right. And we're playing with my friend Jeremy today. He plays 4 times a week.
Love it.
He's going to slaughter us. Right?
Oh, he's going to destroy.
Do not bet him money. My point though is that again, it's different. We're not the same.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the another analogy I give is my car, my German car. I won't name it in case they sue me. It has GPS. Check the box.
Right.
But it sucks. I never use it.
Yes.
I plug in my Apple phone.
Plug in your phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It does yet. But my point I'm trying to make is, I see all these investors who say, "Oh, I'm secured on title. I'm safe." Mm-hmm. I'm like, Is that the only parameter that you need to determine your level of safety and security on an investment?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I just went on a bit of a tangent there.
Yeah,
But like you measure risk. Like as an observer, one of your skills is you're good at math, and being good at math is being able to judge, quantify risk.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I do agree. Like you mentioned being on title. So like you can be on title and the house is worth half of what you're secured for. Like you're on title, you've done the thing, but that doesn't mean that you're safe. You know?
Exactly. And who else is on title? Who else is registered on title?
Right. There could be 10 mortgages there and you could be the person last in line. Who knows? Like you got to bet on the jockey, not the horse, especially if you're a lender, right? It's kind of about the asset, but like a good investor will turn around a bad deal. A bad investor will completely obliterate a great deal, you know? So it's the jockey, not the horse.
I'd say it's all. Because if you're going to, I'm sure we evaluate all. Again, a quality jockey. So I'm trying to a quality jockey should have chosen. If you're a top jockey, you're likely on one of the top horses.
Likely.
Right?
Likely.
Right?
You would make good decisions.
If you're one of the best F1 drivers, you're likely on a good team.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know if I'll say I'll qualify it, but whatever. I'm just throw it out there.
Yeah.
If you're a great Instagram influencer, I don't know. It doesn't tell me that the horse is good.
True. You look at the Fire Festival documentary, right? All of these people that had great influencer accounts at the time when they were talking about this new festival that was coming,
including Ja Rule, legitimate music artist,
Like all these people were talking about this thing, and then this thing didn't work out, and all of these people looked bad for promoting that thing, you know.
And do you even know how many deals you've done?
67, 68, over 60 anyways.
Any idea the dollar amount?
Total dollar volume? No.
Because again, I have units.
I've never added that up. Actually, dollar amount of I think my rental portfolio at its peak was worth about 20 million, something like that.
So again, I think people, again, what I'm trying to make, a point I'm trying to make is to qualify opinions and expertise and know how to qualify a horse. Just qualify an investment property. Yeah. Right. I have units too.
Yeah.
My unit is probably worth like 10% of one of yours. And the amount of effort I have to put in is probably less than 10% of what you put in.
Probably.
I'm just a dickhead with a bunch of duplexes.
Oh man, don't even get me started on that. Jeez.
I don't like inside jokes on the show. We'll circle back and not tie it completely back in together, because I do want to talk about that person. Because whatever. Tell us about the show, the HGTV. Because when did they first reach out to you?
So this all started in 2019. My wife and I live in Durham region, which is just east of Toronto, and somebody had asked me to come and speak at their seminar in like the Kitchener Waterloo area. So I did. Sure, I'll come out, I'll speak, we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, because I'm a pretty open book, right? So came out, did my speech, got off stage, and this person approaches me from the crowd and says, "Hey, you spoke really well up there. You ever thought about doing a show?" I was like, not specifically, but like, what did you have in mind? And he goes, "Well, I'm a producer with HGTV. Why don't we keep in touch?" So we did. From there, my wife and I, Kiki, we went to Chorus Entertainment in Toronto, which is the parent company of HGTV Canada and a whole bunch of other networks, right? They own them. So we met with all these big execs at this like great big table, and all these people were in here talking and asking us questions, and they were feeling out our character, they were feeling out the show, we were kind of bouncing ideas off each other, and everything was good there. And then boom, COVID hits, 2020, and everything got put on hold for a couple of years. So that was a bit of a drag, because we were super excited to do the show. It's called Hoarder House Flippers. It's finally out now, which is great. We just went through the first season, and it was a lot of fun to shoot. But yeah, that took time to get to, okay, camera, go, right? Like there was 3 years there of waiting, and okay, we're going, and did we find the property, and okay, that's not the right property, and all those things happen logistically. So it took time, but it worked out.
How long a time were you not allowed to talk about it?
Those couple years. Because it was all kind of under wraps for a while. I don't know why they do that specifically. I'm sure there's reasons behind the scenes that we don't know about, but everything just kept hush hush, and the show worked out. So like for whatever reasons they have, I'm sure that's cool. Maybe I'll never know, but it was all hush hush for a bit.
Because I knew about it, and It was hard for me not to say anything. I think it was
Sure.
even hard because I think we leaked it on the show, but we edited it out.
Oh yeah, I saw it slip by mistake.
we did.
Yeah.
We edited it out though.
Well, we had to be so strategic too, right? Like you knew because it was strategic. We were in a mastermind together, and like there was a select group of people that did know because I had to be on point to find properties at the drop of a hat. I had to be on point to make sure that like mentally I was in the right spot. Keek and I had to be on point to make sure that we were in a good place with our relationship, which we always are. So like all of these things, like our support network still needed to be supportive for that role that we took on.
And then how long between starting to shoot? No, it's a complicated subtopic because the scope of these properties is not easy.
Right.
Like first you have to find a hoarder house.
Man, like of all of the houses that are out there of like flipping potential, I talked to a lot of wholesalers, right? I counted the other day, I'm on over 20 wholesale lists now, 20. And I reached out to a few of them and said, hey, of all the properties that you get, whether it's, 10 a year or 100 a year, some people get more than that. How many of these would fit the criteria of hoarder house in the area that you farm, right? And they said less than 5%.
Oh, great.
So, it's not very many properties that are hoarded and ready for an off-market person to purchase, but they are out there. So for anybody listening, if you find a hoarder house, we would love to film in it. Please don't clean it out. Call us first. We'd love to do that on camera. It makes for a great episode.
What stops you from just like throwing garbage into a house to convert a crappy house into a hoarder house?
It's not real. It's not real. People want real. They want authenticity. Would you watch any of those storage shows knowing full well that somebody planted a diamond ring in the back corner?
Don't they? I don't know.
They do, right? And when that stuff comes out, people are like, oh, well, it wasn't really real. Like, it's not that exciting. We know there's going to be something cool in there.
I'm no TV expert because I watch very little. People still watch wrestling.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's more theater than Fight Club.
Yeah.
Right? But like, they want it authentic. They want it real. When we go through these houses, it's the real deal. Like we find some stuff in there, like we go, oh my gosh, gross stuff, fun stuff, neat artifacts.
Give me some examples.
Anything from like the dirtiest underwear you've ever seen to so gross to really cool antiques that we repurpose and like stage the home with. Beautiful teacups. Kiki's starting a tea line. And in each of the 2 episodes that we filmed this year, she found teacups and saucers and all the stuff that we were able to stage the homes with. So that was really cool, right? She was able to put them in the kitchen cupboards behind glass, and they were showcased. In episode 6, which just aired last night, we were actually able to set the entire table with these beautiful china dishes. Had like gold leaf and scripture and blue. They were really pretty. We found them in the house.
You were that careful taking the garbage out?
Yeah. There's some cool stuff. I found like $5,000 worth of snow blowers and generators and lawn equipment in one of the episodes we did.
You're making this sound sexy.
Yeah, I mean, like there is a component to it that's super cool, and then there's some stuff that's like, oh, it's kind of gross. Let's move on. Let's fill the dumpster with that.
How many dumpsters on average?
7.
Oh my God.
7 40-yard bins.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What is your typical non-flip? So you're taking it down to the stud.
Down to the studs. So this isn't even down to the studs. This is just stuff from inside the house. Some we donate.
Oh wait, so 7 just a stuff.
Just stuff.
Plus more for the renovation.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Usually like 1 bin for the reno, 6 worth of stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of belongings in these homes. You find a lot of duplicates. We find a lot of things from 30 years ago that have been buried. So it's almost a time capsule in the house. It's kind of fun too, unearthing some of these things. I found a book from the late 1800s of all the surveys east of Toronto, right? So it was talking about like Oshawa and Pickering and Belleville, and all the surveys were in this great big book. It's maybe 2 feet tall and 18 inches wide, and beautiful coffee table book in great shape. So all the pages had like that old mothball smell to it. You open it up and it's just like, it's a piece of history. It was buried under all the stuff. You would have never known.
So other than the bins, how does one prepare for cleaning out a hoarder house? Like, what are you wearing, for example?
Yeah, so for us, we've been able to do it in plain clothes. Sometimes masks and respirators, gloves, obviously, because you never know what you find, sharp stuff. But generally, we've been okay. There's been other people that have been full hazmat suit, mold, wet basement, like the whole bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty rocky,
Mm-hmm.
but for us, we've been lucky. It's been good.
I did have some free time and I tuned into the show, but it wasn't. You guys weren't on. It was.
Yep.
It was a family in the States. I think two brothers and a cousin or something like that.
Montreal. They're from Quebec.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I knew something was off with their English. The prices were really low though.
Oh, dude, I'm so jealous. So we got in the show. There's 6 episodes in total. Kiki and I have 2. A couple from Manitoba has 2, and then a couple from the brothers from Quebec. They've got 2 as well. So 6 in total. And basically, in the Montreal market, just outside of the Montreal market, and then in the Winnipeg market, their houses are like a couple $100,000. And then you come into the GTA market, and the houses are like $1 million. I'm like, going, frig, this is night and day. Night and day different. Like the cost of their purchase is like the cost of our bathroom renovation. Like it's ridiculous, right? It's so different. But the essence of the show remains the same.
Right.
People have stuff, remove the stuff, make the house pretty, turn it back over.
Are the sellers ever part of this in terms of anything? Okay.
No. So this isn't about the people. This is about the real estate and about the house and the transformation, right? So like there's other shows out there that talk specifically about the people and their circumstance and all that. That's not our forte. We're investors first, right? So we talk about the asset and the house, right, and how we can transform.
It is. I don't know what else to ask. And it's your crew, and it's RW Investments that's doing this, and then you and Kiki are the faces.
Yeah. So like this is still real business day to day. In essence, the camera is documenting our journey. Right? And they're coming along for the ride. Yes, there are things that you have to do to move an episode along, because when you're having a conversation about a house or when you're actually flipping the house, sometimes there's long gaps between progress, right? So when they're filming, we have to be strategic as to how we bring the cameras in so that the viewer can follow. Otherwise, it wouldn't make for good TV, right? So, but 95% of what we're doing is sequential, right? And it's actually happening in real time.
Now, there's some out there who criticize these TV shows around their budgets.
Uh-huh.
You know your numbers.
I do.
Were you transparent with your numbers?
I was. Very much so. So, I mean, like what we spend is what we spend. It's a real deal.
Right.
I factor in.
So nothing was donated?
We do get free dumpsters, which is good, but I do try to include that. So like if we spend.
But that's not a massive budget. How much is a dumpster?
No, dumpster's like $1,000.
Okay. Each?
Yeah. Typically.
Yeah, okay.
Depending on the size and the weight and so on.
Right.
But I mean, like we're sponsored by Seco Paint. So that's kind of interesting. Sometimes we get free flooring or things like that. We do get some freebies. But like generally speaking, I factor in dollar for dollar. Like, what did we spend? Let me be transparent. I think when people watch these shows and they don't get the full story, it gives a false expectation in the market. Right. And when I was first an investor too, like learning how to do things, what does lumber cost? What does paint cost? If somebody says the renovation's $20,000 and then you go in the real world and it's 60, well, you start to question, like, okay, am I doing it wrong?
Yeah.
What do I not know? Right. So I do try to be very transparent with that.
Well, can you imagine the poor contractors like, oh, you're supposed to get 3 quotes, and you quote, and all 3 contractors quote, and like, oh, on that show is like 30% less than you're quoting me. You're screwing me over.
Yeah.
Like, and the contractor's like, oh, another one of these.
Another HGTV. Yeah.
But you kept it real.
I keep it real.
Thanks for keeping it real.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm transparent. I always have been. I'm just an open book. I think you're better to just be honest with people, right? And then if you come on a show like this and people ask you questions, it's like, yeah, this is what happened. This is what it is.
Which is whack, because a lot of shows are not real at all. Like I remember watching a show when like it's a realtor working with a couple, whatever, and like, wow, they get every single property. He always wins. This is not possible. Yeah. There's only one other offer. When was the last time we had one other offer to compete against in the GTA? Right. Yeah. So I knew I had contacts, and then you find out like the couple already owns the house. They're just acting.
Yes, right. That's why they wanted the house to be authentic.
Wow, is this a new angle that they're going for? Or?
It's a good question. I don't know. I didn't get too into the weeds on other shows and how they function, right? In terms of like what they do or are their houses real or whatever. I just know what we're doing, right? And so far the show's been really well received. And like I wouldn't know any different because this is our first time. Right? But from what people are telling us and what we hear from friends, family, people in the industry, we're doing great from what we're told. So I'm happy about that.
I'm glad because maybe that sets the tone going forward, that things should be more real, things should be more transparent.
Sure.
If people have ownership in these things, or if things are being donated, or like Just be frank with people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If it because my trust is broken, right? For a lot of TV shows, because I know it's not real, or other shows that they're just feeding the cast alcohol, right? To create drama. That's right. This isn't real.
Right. We don't get to do that. We don't get to drink beer on our show and like get dramatic. It's funny you say that because when we first started the show, Keek and I said, okay, how do we want to be portrayed? And like we had this really real, visceral conversation, and you can be like the disappointed wife and like the asshole husband, or you can be the couple that bickers, right? Or you can be like one person's all about the money, the other person's all about making it beautiful, and you've got conflict, right? Or you can be like the wholesome, genuine couple that we actually are, right? And just be real and be fluid throughout not only the show but our life too, right? And that's the route we decided to pick. Like, let's just be us. And if people like it, great. And if they don't, that's okay too. Not everybody will enjoy everything about every episode, and we're okay with that. But like, at least we're true to ourselves.
Let's talk about Keek a little bit. When did she join the business, like full time?
Full time. So Keek joined the business, I would say, a couple of years ago, just as the show was kind of gearing up. She was always in the background, doing like we had done the first couple of properties together, which is cool, including our principal residence. Right. Then she kind of did her own thing for a bit. Then she kind of came back, and then we realized, hey, we really have something here. She's got a good eye for design. Let's come on board. Let's make these properties beautiful. We're fixing them anyways. To actually make them pretty and color coordinate and all that stuff, we can make some extra lift here, right? Let's bring her on board and let's get her opinion.
Was she also working 7 to 7?
No.
What was Keek working?
Only I work the crazy hours.
What was Keek working?
She's sporadic on her hours, so she's a little bit different. So one thing that we've both learned about ourselves is that we operate very differently. I'm more of a morning person. She's not. She's more of a night hawk. I'm not. Right? So like if I get up at 6 and I'm gung ho, I'm like ready to go. Right? Maybe she'll be sleeping at that point, or the sun hasn't even come up yet. So we have to be very conscious and considerate of each other because we're not the same, right? And that's okay, right? That's okay. Knowing yourself is so important to like real estate investing in life, relationships, whatever. You got to know. And if you don't know, take the time to know. Do a test. Do a DISC test, right? Do a Myers-Briggs test. Do some kind of a personality test. I did that, and it was huge for me. I like the DISC test just because I understand it. But like, there's tons out there. Just do it for yourself, and then you realize, hey, I'm more of a dominant personality, or I'm more of a compliance personality, or I'm a stay-at-home mom, and this is the way that I operate. Whatever your thing is, play into that strength.
So we actually disc everyone in all of our companies. We disc everyone.
I love it.
And then we actually try to read our clients as well, so then we can better communicate with them and understand them, and also how we communicate with them. I think I repeated myself. Yeah. Can you share what your disc is?
Yes, I am. Now you asked me, I forgot. I am a S.
Oh.
No. What am I?
Where's the D?
I think I'm a CD.
You're C first.
C. Yeah, I'm a CD. I'm not an overly dominant personality unless I'm in a leadership role, and I have to be. I'm more of like a passive guy. I'm big on compliance, math, data, stuff like this. That's how I help justify my decisions, right? I'm not an I, like I'm not an influencer. I don't need the flashy whatever for outward stuff. Sometimes I like it. Well, I know what you mean. Inwardly, I enjoy the flashy things for personal reasons, but not to prove anything to others.
Right. Yeah, you're a bit of a gearhead.
Yeah, which is very different than having to buy, the convertible because you want people to see you driving down Main Street with the loudest radio, right? That doesn't matter to me. That stuff doesn't matter. Even being on TV, that doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not doing it for those reasons. So people go, Ryan or Kiki, you guys are amazing. We just love you. Like the accolades they're cool, but like that's not why I'm doing it. It's not me.
Just for the listeners' benefit, Tony Robbins gives away the DISC test for free. So you just Google Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, DISC. You can go fill out the survey and the questionnaire, and they'll in exchange for your email, they'll email it to you, so you can find out what you are as well and compare yourself to Ryan. See if you're also a CD and you're gonna make $20 million like Ryan.
I didn't make $20 million.
So I brutalize your story when I try to summarize you to people. Yeah. Like, I have a young gentleman that I'd like you to meet afterwards because he'd like to see your car. I explained to him, like, Ryan was a mechanic, and because he's good with his hands, he figured out how to renovate houses off YouTube, and then just took action, and worked hard, and now here he is.
Yeah.
We yada yada a lot there.
You're right, though.
7-hour days, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But you've slowed down a little bit.
I have.
Why slow down? Is the market?
Yeah, no, not necessarily. It was more of an internal thing. So again, going back to, knowing thyself, going through all of COVID, I realized that I'm more on the introverted side, less on the extroverted side. Even though I do like to speak and things like that, and train, like I think it's fun. I'm more on the introverted side, and I'm okay with myself. I'm okay with like not going out on a weekend. I'm okay with these things, right? So on the disc test personality side, that really helped me. In terms of, what was the question again?
Slowing down.
Slowing down, yeah. So in terms of slowing down, being an introvert, I was okay with like just taking it easy, taking a step back, really realizing, okay, I've worked really, really hard for 10 years, put in enough time to call it 20 in terms of human hours, right? And it's time to enjoy some of the things that we have, whether it's, we talk about cars. So like, whether it's cars or whether it's hobbies or whether it's spending time at the cottage or whether it's just like, Kiki and I like to have tea and pie on Thursdays, right? Completely non-monetary, and we've been so monetary for so many years trying to figure out how do we make money, what do we enjoy, things like that. Let's have tea and pie on Thursdays. It's $12, right?
Oh, you go to a restaurant?
Sometimes we do. Oh. Sometimes we'd go home and just like, get a pie from like a baker's market or something and make tea in the backyard, right? Super simple. But those little moments are what changed my focus into saying, okay, if you don't enjoy life now, when will you ever do it? Right? I'm 34 now. I've worked really hard for a long time, 10 years plus. Okay, let's chill. Let's take a breath. I need the headspace.
So you cut back by a lot.
Yeah, I did. Well, like at one time, I think the max properties I had on the go was 15. And I've cut back quite a bit. So like right now, we've got a couple under active construction, which is plenty. It's easier to manage, less moving parts, less capital out there. The market is changing right now. Interest rates are up, market is down. The Oshawa market, which is one of the markets that I primarily invested in, it's off 26% since last year.
So much to unpack here. You still have any buy and holds?
Yeah.
You still have any holds?
Yeah, I do.
Any intentions to hold for forever? 5 years?
No, not forever. I'm not a forever guy. So like some people say, what is your forever home or what is your I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to be in 10 years, right? I can't look that far out, but that's just for me. Some people can. They're like, I've got a 30-year plan, a 10-year plan, or whatever. I'm like a 1-year plan, 2-year plan, 5-year plan. Let's reevaluate type of guy.
Yeah.
So for me, yes, I do still have some buy and holds. Do I think I'll have them forever? No, I don't. Do I think I'll have some for a long time? Yes, I do. I do like the benefits of owning real estate, whether it's from a tax perspective or whether it's, capital gains versus active income, like a flip, like all of these things play into my thought process. But yeah, I'll keep some for a long time. Some I'll let go.
What's the makeup of your holds right now?
Primarily small. So I've got one multi-unit and then a bunch of duplexes, a couple of single families. The single families are primarily used because I'm severing land, so buy the house, split the land, eventually sell the house. That's why I have those. Financing is a little bit more favorable. If you're buying a single family home on a big lot, you don't have to close it private. You can close it with bank finance, like things like that. And then I've got a bunch of land that I'm developing as well.
Where's the land?
Through.
Where are you going to build? What are you going to build?
Duplexes, single families, semis, triplexes, things like that.
How many lots?
Not that many. 8, 10, something like that.
Gonna be hard?
Are they hard?
Yeah.
They just take
city cooperative.
They take time. Generally speaking, barring being close to like a creek or like in some weird area, the cities are relatively supportive of infill development because you're using the existing services. You're close to transit spines. You're grocery stores, whatever. All of that stuff's great. On the flip side, if you're in a part of town where, like, I'll give you a real example. So I bought a piece of property 3.5, maybe 4 years ago. Right, it was my first infill development project. So I bought it, like older farmhouse on a double lot in town. Right, and I went to the town and said, okay, I want to whack the house down, cut the lot in half, and build 2 new ones. Generally, they were supportive, except I found out 6 months later that I got stuck in what was called an interim control bylaw. An interim control bylaw is when all the neighbors get together And they complain to the town and they say, all these developers are whacking down the old houses on bigger lots and building mini mansions, right? And we don't like that in our area. So I'm going like, all right. So I got stuck in this thing for 2.5 years.
Oh my.
Yeah. And I had the shittiest tenants in this property. They ripped the cabinets off the wall and they damaged the place. And it was just a mess. One tenant moved out, ripped the cabinets off. So I called the police. I was like, okay, so I've been clearly vandalized here, right? Like this is beyond just like wear and tear. Like, the corners are worn off because they have a big dog. No, like the carpets were torn up. There was garbage all over. Ripped the cabinets off. The cops come in and they're like, yeah, I understand. Were they your tenants? I said, yeah, they were my tenants. Look what they did, right? And the cops were like, sorry, can't do anything. If they weren't your tenants, then we could find these people and press charges. But because of your tenants, they're basically protected. And I was handcuffed. Not physically. I was handcuffed. Like the property.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. The property was like physically handcuffed. I couldn't do anything.
Right? I've actually spoken to a police officer in our community, and he says they can.
Really?
Yeah, it's
interesting.
Yeah. It's just, again, it's in their opinion, how much work they want to put in.
I guess. So like that, shit like that really sucks. It gets me mad. I was really good to these people. As a landlord, I try to be really good to the tenants. If you're good to people, they're good back to you, right? Unless they're unreasonable people to begin with, then you just can't reason with that.
Yeah. Sorry, just to clarify, my case, I had a witness.
Oh, wow.
One of the roommates.
Nice.
But still, cops were called and they wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Yours would be tougher because you didn't have a witness. Yeah. See, I like context.
That is context.
I keep telling people context is everything.
It is.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
You could glaze over that story and be like, Ryan buys house, Ryan takes house down, builds new house, Ryan keeps house long term. But like there's so many details in between that story of like, what happened to the market, what happened with the tenants, what happened with the town, how did you push through it? I built the house all through COVID. What about the price of lumber? What about the price of drywall? What about finding skilled trades during that time? What about watching the government say, okay, everything's open. Okay, everything's closed. Okay, the hardware stores are open. The hardware stores are closed, right? Like all of these things, you have to chop through. And the margins have to be there at the end to actually make that make sense.
So another observation I have of you is that on the outside, you look like you're calm. Because I remember you telling me one story of how you saved a foundation. Because you just happened to check in and you caught them mid pouring foundation and it would have been a complete disaster if you were not there.
That was his house. This new building.
But you were so calm about it. It could have cost you like $100,000 probably or something like that.
It would have, yeah.
You were just so calm about it though.
Yeah.
Were you really calm on the inside?
On the inside, I was freaking out. I was freaking out. That was the first time. So what had happened was,
and again, context, right?
Yeah.
Again, like that quick summary that you gave. Mm-hmm. You could have had a $100,000 mistake if you were not there. And not just if you were not there or not, you had the experience and the knowledge to spot the problem.
Yeah, that's exactly what
and how many people have that? Everyone on the job site apparently didn't.
Apparently, which was unfortunate. They dug up the municipal road, right, for the listeners. They dug up the roadway, and they were putting in the water, sewer, and storm connection into the 2 lots that I was servicing, right? Well, they went to backfill the hole, which is when I pulled up. And they were missing the water pipe on one lot and the sewer pipe on the other. And I said, whoa, like, what are you doing? And they're like, what do you mean, what are we doing? I said, well, you're supposed to have 3 pipes in the hole and you've only got 2. Where's the 3rd pipe? And they're like, well, it's not on the drawing. And I said, do you think that I'm going to go and build a house with no sewer pipe on one and no water pipe on the other? Like, what? How am I going to make this house function? You're going to have to dig the road back up. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, he says.
Who were these people?
Well,
were they municipal workers? Like,
they're contracted by the government to put in the services. Yeah. Like, so frustrating. I thought to myself, are you kidding me?
Outsourcing, delegate the scale, Ryan.
You guys,
you missed that book in the motivational whatever.
Yeah. So I was so rattled on the inside. I was upset that they didn't catch it because they were professionals at what they were doing. Right? They were supposed to
do this every day.
Every day, right? I don't. I'm not a sewer guy. I don't know. But I'm like bright enough to know that, you need sewers and water and all the rest of it to make a house work. So, I said, hey, put the thing in. Like, put it in. And they put it in. They're like, okay, can we backfill the hole? I said, sure.
Good Lord.
Like, so trivial, but that would have been so expensive to fix.
And delayed.
Oh, it would have been horrible. I waited months for that.
And to find the problem, you're probably like, finding the problem, like, well.
Yeah, like, where's my pipe? You would have been digging, looking for the pipe that wasn't even there. It would have been horrible.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but caught it, right? Another roadblock. I caught it. Time to move on. Let's build a house. We're okay.
I don't want to scare people from doing these things.
No.
But the show is truth about real estate investing. We should at least talk about what it is.
Yeah. Like there's positives and negatives to anything. Same thing with stocks. Stocks go up, stocks go down. You hit the buy button instead of the sell button, trouble. You hit the sell button instead of the buy button, maybe you save yourself. Who knows, right? But educate yourself, move forward, figure out the solution, put a dollar.
And go slow. I see all these investors who are just, it's not that common, but they're just incredible ambition right out of the chute.
Yep.
Right? They'll take on a Ryan Carr sized project on like their second deal, or they'll buy a vacant piece of land off Realtor.ca and holy cow!
You wouldn't.
What did you find? What did you see in this property that no one else saw that already looked at this?
You wouldn't believe. I get like people call me from time to time. They say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And so I'll try and help them, right?
Yeah.
And I talk more people out of doing deals than doing deals because they're too ambitious, as you say. I can't reasonably see a positive outcome, right? And they have no idea what they're talking about. And I'm like, hey, you might be missing this, you might be missing this, you might be missing this. You ever thought about that? And they say, no, I haven't, right? And I'm like, there's more deals that are bad deals than are good deals. And most people don't understand that.
Right. Well, a lot of the good deals never see the light of day. So
yeah.
I think folks need to understand that. Like if it's on Realtor.ca, then like, or ICX. Is ICX even around?
I don't know. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think you're right. The commercial version of MLS. Like, if it's made it there, a lot of people already looked at it. So you have to be like, have your guard up.
Yes.
Right. Like be extra critical.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy. So tell me about the deals, the other deals that you're currently active on.
Yes.
Because you're known for highest and best use.
Yeah.
What are you doing that's highest and best use on these, or were these just ugly houses?
A lot of ugly houses, but I mean, land severances are big, rezonings, cutting corner lots, cutting the backyards off corner lots. That's good. Tear down rebuilds, rezoning for higher density. That's big. Coach houses are kind of like the new big thing. So I've got a couple of those in the pipe. I might convert them to triplexes instead of coach houses, just because it's more cost effective to build.
Sorry. How do you? What's the triplex? Can you paint a picture for me?
Yeah, sure. So buy a big infill lot. Cut the lot in half, take the house down, build a triplex on the left and a triplex on the right.
Oh, so what is it like? Three
units in one building, small apartment building.
So basement unit, main floors unit, second floors unit.
Yep. Yeah. I try to build them as a raised bungalow or like a raised basement style. So the basement's 4 feet in the ground, right? Everybody has nice big natural light at the bottom, and then the second floor is elevated a little bit, third floor even more so. Right. And then because there's more stairs to get to a third unit on the top level, right? When it's raised a little bit, we try to incentivize that top level unit. So maybe give them 10-foot ceilings or vault the ceiling. So when you get up there, it's like really beautiful, or they have a nice balcony, right? And that helps offset the pushback when people say, oh,
those are good tips.
I don't want to go that high.
How deep do you have to pour a raised bungalow?
Well, it depends on, the answer is 4 feet. Right, which is your typical frost coverage.
Okay.
Right, but I mean, it depends on your area. So, like in Florida, they don't freeze, so you've got less footing coverage there. But here in Ontario, we're about 4 feet.
Are you seeing more deals available now?
I'm seeing more volume now, but that doesn't mean it's a deal. So just because it's inexpensive,
more things are coming across your desk,
right? Because
or the 20 wholesalers in the emails.
That's right. So like stuff is happening. Things are moving in the market because the market is coming off. So people either want to save face or claim profits or whatever. But like whenever you get a market change, things come out of the woodwork.
I don't even know what to ask next. You mentioned Florida, so that came to mind. Are you doing anything out of country, out of province?
Nothing. No.
Come on, Ryan. There's got to be some shiny things you can chase.
I know.
That's more than an hour drive from your house.
I'm trying to not do that actively. Like there's an opportunity in so many areas that I could reasonably foresee a positive outcome. Right? So many areas. Doesn't matter what it is. Could you own a better restaurant, or could you have a better cotton farm, or could you have the best piece of real estate, or could you like I went all the stock hacker stuff. Right? I took the course, but I never did actually do it. Right? And I thought the course was fantastic, and I thought you guys nailed it, right? But I knew after I took the course that I couldn't have a split focus between real estate and being great at that and doing stocks and being great at that. For me, That doesn't mean nobody can do it. I'm
Right,
sure there's
right.
lots of people that do,
Right.
right? I just knew that for me, if I split my focus, I would split my result, and I couldn't do it.
Right.
Right?
Maybe when you're retired.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, truly retired.
Yeah.
Like you make so much money being so active in your business, and you're so good at it. It seems like it's your highest and best use.
It is. It is. I'm able to see opportunity
Right.
like that, you know?
Because the direction that Stock Hacker Academy is now is where I see challenges in the market for people are all these people who are private lending, who are taking on way too much risk for a fixed return.
Yeah.
Right. And so the analogy I often give them is like, a TD bank will pay me over 4% dividend.
Yeah.
And it's tax preference.
Yeah.
And I can do something really simple like sell cover calls on it.
Yep.
And I don't think I'm going to lose that much money on TD, nor will it go to zero. Versus we know people are losing whacks of money in like the promissory note market and
Yeah.
and some REITs that are at risk out there, like newer REITs. So yeah, we wanted to put something out there that the risk and the reward was more in line with at least more conservative than these massive amounts of risk I see people taking. Yeah. But, I agree with what you're doing, especially with how busy you are. Back to the triplex. No, I don't know where. I want to dig into one of these strategies. Which one's the okay? Because we have a lot of beginners on the show.
Yep.
Which of the strategies that you're currently doing is something more something a beginner can bite off? A sever and build, sever and triplex, just a basement suite.
I think the entry-level stuff is always a basement suite. I mean, I cut my teeth on doing basement apartments really, 10 years ago when I got started. And like a lot of the same techniques you need to do a basement hold true for a lot of development. So like getting a building permit, learning that process, doing a set of drawings, learning that process, understanding what a site plan is, where are we putting parking, how deep is the backyard, what is a setback, right? A setback is how far you are from a lot line from your structures. All of these things matter, right? So when you take that concept and then you bring it over into infill development, right? The same thing applies. Where are you putting the house? How do you get your blueprints done? What are your setback? All of these things are the same, right? It's just on a basement apartment, it's easier because you have a defined space that you're working with. On an infill lot, it's a little bit more tricky because you're trying to deal with the town on something new, right? Basements are existing construction. So basement apartment, that's the answer. That's the easiest entry level point.
Is it your own crews working on these projects?
Sometimes, yep. So like I think at my peak I had three crews on the go. Right now I have one, sometimes two, but mostly just one. Full-time staff, T4 employees. I've had them for years, right? And they've been awesome. I attribute a lot of my successes to having full-time staff because they push me to be better because I want to be better for them, not because I want to be better for me, right? I'm always working 6 months ahead of my guys, my staff, because it takes time to find the house, close on the house, finance the house, whatever, plan the house so that they can come in and do the construction, right? And that evolved naturally. I used to be the guy doing the construction. That was great, but you can't scale your physical labor. You can only scale your thoughts, other people's labor, right? So that's how that came about. But like, yeah, I can confidently say that if I didn't have full-time staff, I probably wouldn't be where I am today, because I wouldn't have pushed in the same manner.
Now, having full-time staff so I just want, again, not many people have full-time staff, so I have some questions around it. Hopefully it benefits the listener. How much are you able to outsource and delegate to that full-time staff? Are you able to be like, go golfing? How often, maybe you can explain it. How involved are you with the construction since you have full-time staff?
Less or so now, more so in the beginning. Right, so when I kickstart a project, we'll call it every project. When I start one, I'm a little bit more involved at the beginning because I have to steer the ship. Right, I'm the maestro to the orchestra. I have to say, okay, the tuba goes here, the trombone goes here, the violin. Now it's your turn. Right, whereas after that is set and the sheet music is written, they just have to play it. Right, and I say just have to play it like kind of tongue in cheek because there is still some technique there, and they still have to be good at their job. But what I didn't understand when I first started my business was I was just looking for people that were inexpensive, because I just want to cheat, right? And a lot of people go through this. They don't want to pay and whatever. Now I need people that come batteries included, no assembly required, right? Because I have to be able to delegate a task and say, okay, you go hang the drywall. I'll be over here when you're ready. Then we'll go on to the next task. I can't spend the time to show you how to hang the drywall. Otherwise, I would just have to do it myself. right? So that was a big takeaway for me as I continue to grow. And now I'm less involved, right? I do still start the project, like I mentioned. As we progress through the project, less or so, right? And the final 10% is always the hardest, because then I come back in and I say, okay, still got to do this, still got to do this. Okay, now we're ready to go.
So part of the challenge with investors is they want to be as passive as possible.
That's horseshit. I'm telling you right now, anybody that wants to be like super hands off, and I don't want to know anything about the problems, and just call me when it's done, and here's the keys and whatever, that only works later in life. It only works later in life. That's been my experience, right? I think that's been a lot of people's experience. I can't speak for every scenario, but anybody that says, I don't want to know anything about it, right? Fair, fine, but you will pay for that one way or the other. It will, like, something will come back, it'll bite you in the ass, it'll be bad, right? But it's the wrong way to go about it. If you can't see yourself in that business long term, right? I personally don't believe that you should start, because something will happen and you'll get frustrated and you won't want to be there, and you won't have the foresight to work through the issues.
I just worry for the person that thinks like, oh, Ryan works 7 to 7. I can fix that. I can outsource and delegate. I'll hire an in-house operations manager, for example. Does the model work with the full-time staff between you and the project, so you don't ever have to go on site?
Maybe sometimes it does. Maybe
only sometimes.
Yeah.
Your projects are usually pretty have good meat on the bone.
They do. So like, if you have a ton of margin where you can make all the mistakes and you can hire all the people and stuff like that, everybody that's just says like, oh, just delegate that and delegate that and delegate that. Well, eventually when you get to the end and there's nothing left, but you delegated everything, what have you done it for? Right? So you got to be really conscious on where you're spending your money. You could lose so much in operational inefficiency that like there's like the project is a 0 or a negative at the end, and you've just put in all the time, even though you've outsourced it and got your time back, right? It's all for naught. So you do still have to look at the margin, right?
And that's the thing that I see a lot of books talk about, is like, oh yeah, just outsource and delegate everything.
Yeah.
My experience is similar.
Sure.
There's so much you can't.
You cannot. It's very hard to delegate vision, right? It's very hard to delegate like a one-off chore. It's very hard to delegate art. It's very hard to delegate anything that isn't clearly repeatable.
Like Simon Sinek's book, for example, Lead from the Front. Like that's, I don't know if you can inspire people if you're on the golf course and like not doing like any work. All you're just doing is cutting checks and signing checks.
Yeah.
I don't know if that necessarily inspires your staff. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't think it would. That's why, I talked about this in the book, which, by the way, is coming. It's been the longest. It's been the longest book release.
You were supposed to announce it today.
Well, it's been the longest book release ever. And at first, it was like the production side that I was kind of getting held up on, and now it's clearly just my fault. Like, it's just clearly my fault. The book is written, it's been proofread, right? And there's still a few things that need to be done. And it's just like, I am the bottleneck in that process. Speaking of outsourcing, I can't outsource a couple of the things that need to be done because it's coming from me. Right? So I'm the bottleneck. This is like real world entrepreneurship. I'm the bottleneck. This is it. Right? But like, I talked about some of these things in that book where you have challenges in the business that it's got to be you to fix it.
I did hire someone to read my book.
Did you? Yeah, you got one that's taken forever too.
It is out though. But again, the audiobook's not out yet, but it's hilarious because like the guy who reads it, very professional, doesn't stutter like I do.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Cool. I can't wait to read it or listen to it.
I heard a sample of Sherry's book. Also, we hired someone, a woman at least. Yeah. But again, like to hear like a professional speak versus Sherry with her accent. Yeah. This is hilarious.
Pros are very articulate with the words and they're very delicate and all that stuff.
Because for me, whenever I read Sherry's writing, I hear her voice in my head.
Oh, wow.
So to hear someone completely different voice, it just completely throws me off. Can we talk about the car?
We can.
You like cars?
I do like cars. So,
Forever,
yeah. As a kid, I was always very mechanical. So like before I got into being a mechanic, I was, like doing go-karts and mini bikes and welding and stuff like this, all through like public school and high school. I was more into sports in public school, and then I gravitated towards working with my hands even more so, when I was like 13, 14, and then it just always stuck around.
And that wasn't just any car; it was a particular brand and everything. Like, was it on your vision board or anything like that?
Absolutely. So I didn't even know what a vision board was when I was a kid, but I always had little toy Ferraris, right? That was always my thing. That was my brand. They were red and they were fast and they were fun and they were sporty, and that always stuck with me. And then going through like all of this real estate stuff and making some money and like having successes, I said, okay, if I'm ever going to buy a sports car or a Ferrari, like now's the time. Let's do that. So I did.
What was the time?
What was the time?
What was the trigger event that was like, now's the time to buy it?
Yeah. So this is a cool story. I always said to myself that I wanted a Ferrari, but I never wanted to pay full price for it because I was buying equity in real estate. I wanted to do the same thing with cars. I said to myself, when the market falls apart, luxuries go on sale, and that's when I'll buy it, right? And I did just that. So over the number of 60 some odd deals, I saved up a couple grand here, a couple grand there, just kind of put it aside, forgot about it. That was my car fund, right? And I got to the point where COVID came in, the market fell apart, luxuries went on sale. It was a very short time period, but there was the opportunity. There was this window. I found the perfect car, bought it right there. Mm-hmm. Rest is history.
Can you share how you found it? How you found the car?
Yeah, so I actually did Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, Auto Trader, like all the online ads, and I did a We Buy Ferraris Fast for Cash program. Right, in amongst that, I had like
you had an ad. You created
I had a little
an
ad.
Yeah,
just like people do. We buy houses and send out flyers. I did I put one on Kijiji.
Right. So instead of like house pictures or house logos, it was a
car.
It was
put a picture of a car. Yeah.
Picture of a Ferrari.
Yeah.
I buy Ferraris.
Yeah, like red with nice rims and like all this stuff. Right.
Yeah.
I put it up there. I think I put it in like Microsoft Paint. Like it was the cheesiest ad. It was like, we buy Ferraris fast for cash. Call me. And in amongst that campaign where I was A, waiting for inbound leads to come in, right? And B, reaching out to people saying, I see your car's for sale. If it doesn't sell, give me a call, like things like this, right? In amongst that campaign, I came across the car that I wanted. There was 2 particular models. And the rest is history. Like I bought it right there. I bought equity, right? The person I bought it from was fantastic, like really great guy. Still have a relationship with that person today. And I love the car.
Right. He doesn't feel slated how much you've made off the car.
No. You know what? He was thrilled. I think, and all I could do is insert myself into the way that I feel he was thinking at the time, right? I called him. He didn't pick up. He called me back like a week later, and I figured, well, this car is pretty reasonably priced, and it's really pretty. It's probably gone. So I just kind of wrote it off. Well, he called me back a week later. Hey, I'm so-and-so. Whenever you're available, let me know. I'll get the car down for you, he says.
Down?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Down from Barrie? Down from what?
Okay. So I roll up and he takes it down off the hoist and takes it out into the driveway, and it's all nicely polished, recently serviced, all the owner's manuals, service records, the whole bit. And the car was like beautiful, and it was everything that I wanted. And the guy was awesome too. He's like, come on into my home. We had a coffee, talked a little bit about it. I met his wife, like really great. Just like great people, right? And not only did I get the car, but I got the relationship, and I think that's really cool.
So he called off your ad, or they posted an ad?
I reached out to him. He posted an ad. Right? In my campaign of inbound and outbound, trying to find, right? I had reached out to his ad, and he called me back.
There was a price on the ad?
There was.
Oh.
There was. So I got a little bit of a reduction, right, which is great. I also got an awesome car.
Any idea if he had any serious inquiries?
He did. Oh. He did. I can only guess based on my interaction with him there. I think he sold it to me because he liked the relationship too. That's my guess. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's my guess.
Can you give a percentage how much it's gone up in value?
Oh, yeah. That car went up in value. I think I bought it about 60 cents on the dollar. So it's probably gone up 40% or more.
Is it $1 then? Or
$1?
6% of, it went up 40% of 60 cents. You know what I mean? So it went up 28%? 28 cents?
That's heavy math. I don't know. Probably went up by, we'll just say it went up by half the value of the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, then it's over the dollar amount then. If you paid $1 on the dollar, then you're over.
I paid 60 cents for what the car was worth, and then it went up a bit. I don't know. It just went up.
But you made money.
I made money.
And you're happy.
I'm very happy.
You ever gonna sell it? That's a dumb question for you.
I don't know. It's again, for me, it was more the emotional buy. Like this wasn't Like this isn't a flashy thing. I don't like post it on social media. Like it doesn't.
I
again,
posted it. That's okay.
I know you do.
I asked.
Every time I go somewhere, people are like, "Can I take a picture of the car?" I'm like, "Sure," right? But like I don't post that stuff. I'm not a flashy guy. It doesn't mean that stuff doesn't mean anything to me. Emotionally, I wanted it for me, not for others. And the fact that other people enjoy it, I think is great.
How do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I love it. I love it. It makes me feel good, right? I get in. It's tight. It's fun. It's sporty. I take it to the track sometimes. It looks great.
Right, there's a track near you. Right, you're lucky.
Yeah.
This track's nowhere near here.
So the Ferrari deallership, they called me and they said, "Hey, we're doing a track day. Why don't you come out?" So we went out and like there's this guy like with the espresso machine. It's all like a nicely done day. Whole bunch of people with other cars, and it was a really cool experience to be able to take my own vehicle to the track. And I did a little video on the way there. I never ended up posting it, but I did this little video. And I was like, I just sent it to my family and I said, "Hey, big day. I'm going to the track today. And the coolest part is that I get to take my own car." Right. And, I sat next to people at lunch that sold their companies to American Express for like, hundreds of millions of dollars. And here's me like, little rental portfolio.
Yeah. Take care of the duplex.
That's right. That's right. So it was a really cool experience to know that there's people out there with, with more money or more experience or better cars or faster cars. And, I was able to compete with that and hang out for the day.
And have you done any business with these people? Like, is it a good networking opportunity?
I haven't done any business with anybody car related. I imagine it would be a good networking opportunity, but I don't really use it like that yet. It definitely does though, because I'm part of a few other car clubs. It definitely does open the door before you even open your mouth. Right? It's just a visual representation of, some success that you've had in your business career, and people automatically attribute that to, this guy probably knows what he's talking about. Right? So that is really cool.
That's cool. Now, running out of time, so I want to ask you've done a fair amount of education, hired coaches and stuff. Any particular favorites?
Any favorites?
You've dropped a lot of money on coaching.
I have, yeah. I've probably spent, I don't know, over $100,000 anyways on coaching. But that's returned to me. I don't know how many folds, but several times, even just negotiating with tenants and stuff like that, trying to figure out, okay, I want to put a house on the market. What does that mean? How can I parlay this to the tenant so that it's advantageous for both of us, right? How do we work on that? So just the way that you use your words is important. Any particular favorites? Right now, I really love Alex Hormozy. He's on YouTube.
Okay.
He's got some podcasts and stuff. He's great. He's not a formal coach of mine by any means, but his content is terrific. Very, very good.
Is he the former gym owner?
Yeah.
Like lots of gym owners?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a disciple of Russell Brunson.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. I know he did a bunch of stuff with him. I didn't know that he was like a descendant of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Any of the paid ones? Any of the paid real estate coaching that you've done that you want to shout out to?
Specifically, no. Like I really do appreciate when people share information with me, and I do appreciate paid or free content, right? And I just think that if you're able to digest that and then use it in the market, it's worth the money because you'll get it back. I've said it for a long time. Education is like a stove. Buy it once and use it forever, right? And like that just rings true for anybody who's active and actually doing the doing. If you're not doing the doing, like don't read the books because it's just not worth it. Don't take the courses. Don't do the weekend training because it's just not worth it. Like who said that quote? It was like, there's no difference between a person who doesn't read and a person who can't read. Was it Mark Twain?
I don't know who said it.
It was somebody.
That's a good one though.
Like Mark Twain or Jim Rohn. I don't know. One of these guys. But like, it's true. Why learn to play pool if you're never going to play pool again?
Yeah.
Right? Why would you go to a weekend course to play pool, billiards, right? If you never play with your friends, or if you never go to the bar and play in a league.
Or for my case, why learn to golf when you suck so much?
There you go. Right? It's true, man.
So we're running out of time, right? I want to ask some final thoughts. Like we're in the middle of a declining market in everything.
I know, stocks, everything. Real estate.
So is it time to like pull the chute and sell everything, or what do you think?
I'm short-term bearish, long-term bullish. Right? I think I said this in the downturn somewhere around 2017. We talked about it on your show. I was short-term bearish, long-term bullish there, right? And I feel the same way now. I think we're going to go through some choppy waters for the next couple of years. I don't think anybody saw what happened with COVID happening because interest rates are so low and they printed so much money, which shot the market like straight to the moon. So, I mean, yeah, I still think that we're going to be in a short-term tough time. I think we're long-term bullish because at the end of the day, it's inflation that the governments all want, right? They target 2% inflation as like the goal, right? Because if we don't have inflation, consumers get very bearish and they don't buy because they know tomorrow it's going to be worth even less, right? So to kickstart the economy, they keep a 2% hedge, knowing that, okay, right, next year is going to be worth more, which means consumers will shop. 2% is the goal. So long term, I'm still bullish. Short term, I'm definitely bearish, right? But that brings opportunity.
Right. So then immediate term, you're still buying stuff if something makes sense to you?
If you buy equity. I've been like that in a good market and in a bad market, right? The strategy still rings true. Obviously, you don't want to catch a falling knife. That's like the going term, right now, but it's true. Like if you buy something for 100,000 today and the market falls 20%, it's only worth 80 tomorrow, right? If you bought it for 60, well, you're still up. You're still good. That's how I see it.
Fantastic. Brian, thanks very much for doing this. Thanks for making the drive out. Thanks for bringing the car.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to have some fun golfing.
I agree.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy that I personally use in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/YouTube to register for our next class. The link is also in the description as well. I publish at least 2 to 3 videos a week here, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. And if you're just starting out, feel free to ask questions and comment below, and I do the best to answer each of those comments and questions myself. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing from a professional investor, register for our next virtual class. That's at investortraining.ca/YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.